Springboks 80, Barbarians 31. It was a lot of points down in Gqeberha. And, maybe not the most polished performance from the Boks. It was a case of when it was good, it was really good. And when it was bad, it was pretty horrible from a defensive point of view. It's worrying to concede 31 points. It is a team that hasn't played an awful lot together. There are obviously a couple of new players in and around the mix. First game of the season as well is always going to be a bit scratchy. So it's a difficult one to really kind of look into too much. But it'll be a bit worrying that we conceded 31 points. But obviously scoring 80 points is also a really good thing. Hat-trick hero for Ed van der Merwe, who was named the Yes Play Man of the match at the moment. And a good game from him. And I think the main thing for me is you got to look at kind of the lessons over here. As a team performance, maybe that's not what we're looking at. Maybe we need to look at the fact that Riley Norton looked very, very comfortable. Somebody who has not played a lot of senior rugby, but looked at home in a Bok jersey today. Did not look like the under-20 player who'd been sort of fast-tracked at all, similar to Vusi Moyo, who came off. You've got to look at the performance of Quan Horn at 10. Did it work? Did it not work? I don't think it necessarily didn't work. Not sure it sort of set the world on fire. Obviously, a defensive mistake in the first half. But it was all right. I mean, it definitely didn't look like it was a non-option. You got to look at performances. Franco Moster coming back, I think, getting through some good work there. Ed van der Merwe, banging that door down, saying, I'm ready to select me. Collie Sardi having a solid outing. But the main thing for us is it's a hit out. We get out. We got some minutes under the belt as a squad, and we can kind of take that a bit of momentum into the England game. Credit to the Barbarians. Much better performance than what we saw from the Barbarian side of last year, where they just didn't really give much of a competition. In the first half, we raced up to 35 points to 7, and after that, they came back. And credit to them, they scored 3 unanswered tries, and that was good to see to a certain degree with regards to being challenged a bit. And we had to rally, we had to kind of go into halftime, reset, come back in the second half, and it was a good second half performance at the end of the day. Plenty of points, only conceded the single try. So it was a much better in general from the. I think actually you conceded the 2 tries in the second half. But before we get to the stats, what do you think? Let me know for the performance in general, and now we can kind of dive into some of the numbers. And here they are. So total. So the top carriers over there. I'll tell you what, very impressive game from Alex Nankivell. But you can just see they're just tries galore. Try. I mean, that and lots of yellow cards as well. I think 4, maybe 5 in the end there. 4, I think it was officially. No, 5. Yeah, there was 5. So discipline was a problem for both teams. Both teams getting for shoulder head contact, foul play. We need to make sure we get a bit lower there as well, because up in Fussy got the yellow card, and in a game like a Barbarians, maybe it doesn't really matter too much. But in 2 weeks' time against England, we can't afford that kind of situation. But yeah, some of these are some of the top stats there. So you can see the top carrier of the match, Alex Nankivell, with 15, relentless in his carry. And Boscho, your top tackler, Ed van der Merwe, 94 meters gain. He actually crossed the white line 4 times, but 1 was ruled out. 3 clean breaks from him. Cheslin Colby, I'll tell you what, that will be a big talking point from this game. Cheslin Colby, 23 points, of which 18 from the boot. Looked really comfortable in the goal kicking position. You would never think that this was it's not an experiment at this stage. He has done it before, but it's not his go-to. It's not what he does for the Boks. He's there to score tries. He's been doing a lot more in Japan recently, and today, as I said, looked a really, really good option, which is really good to see. Tackle completion for the Springboks, 83%. Possession pretty even throughout the match. The lineout was pretty decent. Got a little bit worse in the second half. Couple of poor lineouts. Scrum dominance was there as we kind of expected, but 12 tries to 5. Running 620 meters, over 101 carries with 11 breaks. It's good attacking stats, but this reads like a bit of a preseason throw-around game with over 1,000 meters gained in total. So it wasn't a test match kind of feel. And I don't think it was ever going to be a test match feel. 100 tackles made, 100 tackles missed. In terms of the set pieces, snapshot, 5 scrums for the Springboks. The lineouts were pretty solid. Andrew Hugo Fenter came on and after his concussion, last one, but JJ Kotzer was pretty solid. but 2 yellow cards to 3. Discipline not phenomenal for sort of either side, if you're going to be brutally honest. And I think if we look at kind of going into the defense a bit more, our big defenders over here, tackles missed over there was Peter Steph, the toy with 4. But a couple of big tacklers. Riley Norton got 10 tackles. Good to see him up there in those sort of stats. Franklin Mostert getting through good work before he went off. Good to see him really stepping up to the plate, because I think a lot of people, maybe myself included, weren't quite sure whether he's ready for this level, and he looked very comfortable. From attack point of view, 23 points from Cheslin Colby, 15 from Edward van der Merwe, the 3 tries from him, 2 from Kellaway. But our try scorers are quite a long list. Peter Steph, the toy, Jasper Wiese getting out there, Jesse Creel, Cheslin Colby, Zach Porthen, Riley Norton. Who else went over? Faf de Klerk went over. Very nice little 1-2 with Vusi Moya. So, yeah, and overall, any game that kind of looks like that is a bit of a messy game. But there were some good performances. There were some good moments. And the main thing, I think, for me is the fact that Vusi Moya didn't look uncomfortable at all. He came on and just looked like he'd kind of been there for a while. Similarly with Riley Norton. Similarly with JJ Kotze when he came on. Similarly with the Carl Lusari. So whilst the defense wasn't quite there, I think we defensively, from a systematic point of view, weren't entirely sure of our systems, and we were kind of beaten far too easy, and a couple of missed tackles, a bit sloppy at times. It was good to see that there was definitely alignment with regards to the game planning, understanding what we do in certain situations, and that the players who have been brought in weren't obviously looking like they didn't know what was going on. They kind of knew that this was the vibe. They knew that this was how we play, which is what these alignment camps are all about. It's what it's about, getting these players all together and making sure they kind of understand the game plan, they understand what's expected of them, they understand the standards, and it very much was the case today. So it's positive, I think, overall, but work on. And I suppose maybe you kind of want that. You don't just want a complete runaway game where you kind of just go, oh, well, whatever. The fact that there are work-ons, that there are causes for concern, can sometimes be a good thing, because it means you've got something to look at now in the post-match, where you can sit there seeing, well, this is why our defensive system didn't work. This is how he fixed it. So the fact that we got exposed is probably quite a good thing in the long run, because it highlights potential issues within the system and potential issues that we need to fix before we face England, Scotland, and Wales. But job done. And now we roll into the test season. Pre-season out the way. We've got a week break. No rugby next week. And then we're back into proper test week with a first test against England coming up.